Kia ora from Aotearoa. It's Poppy speaking with current ninth wave true time sacred Mayan energies. And this is a report on the energy of 9 Road, and that is night 8 of 18 and 2 Serpent, which is very much about the splitting of consciousnesses, and of course the splitting of consciousnesses also the splitting of realities. And I do feel that it's actually really possible now that there is actually a collective consciousness that is strong enough to really bring in this change. I have been looking at the Mayan energies for a number of years now, and this is the first time that I've really noticed that the energies have got very super strong. Like we're actually getting results with the energies, rather than them just being drops into our consciousness of what could be. They seem to be more like, well, things actually really, really happening, and I believe that happens when we do have a collective consciousness that supports that. And well, this night wave is about that, the splitting of consciousness and the splitting of two ways. And it's been really lovely to even have seen it confirmed through remote viewers who are also seeing this is actually a theme, that is something that's happening. But in 9 Road, we're leaving behind old patterns of life and beginning new patterns of certainty on our destiny roads as we are present with each step that we take along the way. So in general, people are always doing the best that they can with what they know and how their lives unfold. Being conscious and present is something that society discourages. It doesn't support the slavery system at all, and that is why society discourages it, because it's actually a threat to their system. And by being very conscious, being very sensitive, being very empathic, a lot of people have actually been given mental health diagnoses for that, and this is how much of a threat it is to that system. So my life experience has got me questioning everything, like really from the beginning. And I've been determined to find my way out of the limits of control. So, I became aware. I've looked very deeply into everything. I actually meditate with Source, my answers that come from Source. And actually it is a form of remote viewing, I have discovered, have been more honest and true to me than all the outer information. So there's a lot of outer information that comes at us, from the system, from the opposition to the system. It comes to us in every which way. There's history, there's all sorts. And so for me, I can only really trust what I do actually see for myself, through my own source connection, a lot of prayer and being shown things. So yes, I'm very well aware. My life experience has shown me that we are in an alien invasion that has indeed been a part of life on a present planet, and it has actually contributed to our evolution. However, its time is up according to the energies that Source shines through us, and we each may be guided to new destinies that are part of returning to natural law and breaking free of the hurt and harm that comes with being controlled by anti-source agendas. And these are the ones that have dominated the earth. So I was really exploring, looking at what is Source and how do we connect and what it is. And what I saw, I saw light, masses of light, but it was like in a DNA configuration. And it was like all the shades of this light were like very fine, like more colour than we see in the visible spectrum here on Earth. It was a lot more. And what I really realised is that it is light. Source is light, and that energy holds light, and it is the light of the universe. It's the light. It's a natural light. And what happens is that this actually, this light is sent by the sun, and we actually receive it through our DNA. So it's like light photons, particles, and these are what create things that materialize. And so it's very hard to explain. But when I saw that vision, it really spoke to me. It's the most glorious, beautiful, blissful, and highest of the high energies, and that do come through the sun and through nature, and this is probably why every attempt has been made to try to move consciousness away from nature, from the actual source lights, the true source connection, and that, religions have hijacked it, belief systems have hijacked it, control systems have hijacked that, stealthily over time. We went through industrial revolutions, we went through things that have really usurped nature and usurped her all along and have been very destructive. But if they were in keeping with source, then they would heal. And so now we're coming back to this source connection, this unitary consciousness of sharing this unified field of all the experiences that we've ever known and learned, and bringing things back and into a kind of a balance and a harmony, that we can actually restore all of this again. So source shines light through us, and this is how we become one with source, because we share the light that is seeded from source, and that is the creative energy that creates the form and creates our bodies. It heals us. So DNA is receptive to this light, and we may respond from our own certainty or continue to live by all the concepts and ideas that are outside of natural law and continue to be owned and controlled. So if this DNA, we've been receptive to this light, then this is source coursing through us. It's part of our soul stream, and it actually does rely on our physicality to hold the soul source light that informs us, and it informs our possibilities, our world, how we can continue to evolve, because source light energies are here for our evolution, and there's been many eras that we have gone through in order to really evolve and really take on that source connection within us, so that we can live life by the will of source, by the will of nature, what is natural, and return it. But we've been so removed from the land, the nature, through the control systems, that there's actually quite a lot of work to do for us all to get back and to really reclaim the damage that was done to our mutilated DNA, because that was part of the agenda, was to actually mutilate the DNA and disable us, really. Like, we should be telepathic. Anyway, source. This is about choosing. I don't personally believe in the concept of chosen ones here on earth, although I can understand that people can think that they are chosen ones, because I think that we decide before we are born what we'd like our souls to do. But I don't see as any human being as being superior or inferior to any other human being. We all matter, and we all have a contribution, and that's vital. And to compare isn't going to do any good. That's part of that sort of dualistic mentality of comparing and identifying and judging and all of that. So if I'm saying this isn't about choosing, but rather the empowerment of the choosing ones who desire to live the ways of source, which lead us back to freedom and the possible bliss of really being. I know that nature and my meditation practices, which I've been forced into because of the health and the healing from the abuse that I had, which was trying to suppress me and keep me down, it meant a heck of a lot of meditation. When the body cannot do things, when you're financially stricken, when you're isolated and there's nothing, you're left really with nature. And that has really been keeping me going. And as a child, nature always kept me going. So our DNA was mutilated. Our source codes for living by were interfered with in numerous ways, through trauma, genetic splicing and manipulation, and all of these things, that we hear about, which has revealed the story of the Anunnaki, which is told in the Bible, those sorts of things. But, really we can see from our own experiences how it came to be if we can really connect with Source and quest and find those answers that way. And this is why I really encourage this direct connecting with Source for all our information, and that it's not coming just from a whole lot of outer informations. It's always going to divide us because everyone's going to have a different worldview. Everyone's got a different belief structure. But with Source, it actually unites us. And we find that we're picking up the same kinds of things when we truly are connected. But even though humanity has been experimented on for so long, we still have the potential to return to what would be innate within us without the trauma involved and all the other measures that were taken. So largely we lost our connection with what's natural, and in the process our ability to be empathetic and sensitive was lost. We were conditioned to suck up the life presented to us by control systems like a buttercup for survival, like to be isolated and to compete, and that was, that's the big thing. And of course the communist system has really, really made that happen, and that communist system needs to be shattered and changed in order for true equity and equality to happen, so that we could really, really birth what nature and Source desire, and that our connection will guide us that way, and we can reach this place of evolutionary maturity where we are committed to that, we're dedicated to that, it's something that we want to do, it gives us joy, there's bliss in it, and it's healing. So until our energy is no longer harnessed by our commerce system built upon spells, rituals and blood sacrifice, people are still separated from their connection to the earth. And so people don't even have the time to be conscious, to really connect even with the food that they're given, the food that they grow or whatever. It actually takes time to be conscious and to be aware. And life got so hurried in the whole slavery to make money for a whole lot of people and keep things under control, it's actually taken that away. So new destinies are birthing up, with many to be the solution to freeing ourselves from captivities. And it starts with our intentions and trust in Source, that it is possible. So we may be guided purely by responding to the Source-like energies of evolution, because it's actually time for that, according to the sacred Mayan calendar, 9th waves of time, that are of the true time-space continuum. So astrology is not of the true time-space continuum. It's actually a dualistic system that came out of the Babylonian priesthood, and even though it can tell us what's going on and all of that, things are already in place, they're already in motion. We can actually go to just pure Source-like connection, which is what the Maya did, and actually create from there. So the calendar doesn't even have to be followed to do that. We don't have to follow any system or any structure. All we need is real true Source connection. And the energies come directly from Source. So I see people from all walks of life receiving and interacting with these energies and discerning and learning in direct connection with Source. So we are all here experiencing life in many diverse ways, and many make our own choices to do no harm. It's impossible actually to do no harm due to the dominion and power of anti-Source controllers, due to the colonization of our beautiful Mother Earth. Like if I need to go somewhere, I need to drive a vehicle which uses fuel which pollutes, and then there's plastic bags everywhere. If I go out and shelter from the rain, it's often under nylon, and because of a lack of money and a lack of resources and not having direct access to the land, we get very limited by our choices. So there's so much yet to be undone that needs to come through us. It's like creating this new earth isn't like an instantaneous thing that suddenly some kind of miracle happens and we're there. We actually have the responsibility to create that, but the power needs to come back into our own hands, our own power, and that is still being taken or harnessed, and so that is something that needs to change. So here we are all being experienced life in many diverse ways, and many make choices to do no harm. So, okay, it's the controlling of energy that has caused people to compete for survival through things like industry and factory farming and things that evolved with the focus of competing for energy, taking it and not considering the ways of natural law, and it is about being disconnected from nature. It's an exploitation. It's like the mining of resources. It's just like no respect for nature, total overriding of nature and natural law, and that is not the way of source energy, the absolute creation. It's an intelligence. It's a divine intelligence. So for anyone who really loves the earth, let's allow the source-like codes to inform us. So when I say inform, these light codes are in us and they do create form. So they can inform us. So we are empowered most from being clear and receptive vessels to this light, and really like connecting for ourselves, like being guided and really by source, the highest of the high. Like the highest of the high means that everything can come into balance and harmony, and that we can be guided. But we have got wreckage that needs to be done. We've got DNA yet to repair. There's a lot of evolving to do in order to honour and nurture and cherish what is natural. But something beautiful is happening through us. Many of us are now going direct with Source for our guidance and to be all we can be to birth this change. It's the only hope that I see. It's not going to come from any governmental structure, which is anti-source. Our innate human gifts will return as we heal our DNA. That's where I see where the connection to source is. So eventually we may return to telepathic connections with one another. You may notice it is already there with Soul Tribe, and that's why we can stay connected even after long periods of absence from one another. You notice how with certain people you can just pick up where you left off because you just know each other. You kind of, you know each other through and through. And it's like there's this telepathy, and it's like there can't be any deception that way. Like how animals don't deceive one another, like in general, unless they've got really out of balance from the harm that has been done. But telepathy does not deceive, and by mutilating human DNA, humanity became deceivable and has relied on being told how to be and what to do for survive. But that's the end of that era, and we need to start growing more into that maturity, and really claiming back all of our power and all of our energy, and consciousness is the driver. And the source energies are here that we can actually be informed in the moment as what to do and how to be, and that these new destinies are rising up within us, and we all have a part to contribute. But things are going to be very, very drastically different. So extraterrestrials of much higher dimensions communicate with telepathy. They even fly their craft with telepathy, things like that. So source is what connects us ideally, as I see it. We only know in the moment how to be, so being consciously connected is key to birthing a new earth reality, if that is what we are destined to do, in response to the source-like energies of each now moment. So thank you to everyone who's really contributing and with us. I'm aware there's only a few of us, but we are strong together. And this energy is a very high frequency, and it is the frequency of the soul light that's coming through. And our world is being jostled. It is crumbling. Old ways are falling down for new ways to rise up. through in each and every one of us. So thank you for your part, and so much love to you.